e te maunga Tokomaru, e te awa Wairau, e te moana o Rau Kawakawa, e te waka tainui e te iwi a Ngāti Rārua, ko Barney Thomas tuku ingoa. Firstly, I think I need to give a bit of context around the reserve lands based here in the Wairau. The past history is that there have been trustees appointed, and to the best of my knowledge, Uncle Noe Luke was a trustee, Uncle Iva Te Puni, he was a trustee, and all of these trustees are appointed by the Māori Land Court. Then we had Uncle Kupa and Uncle Bill Stafford, Molly and myself. All of those trustees have now passed on except for myself and Molly. And so we thought, well, we need some succession. And we initially thought, let's create a whenua trust with trustees that will succeed. But to do that, the Māori Land Court said we would have to change the status of the reserve lands, and we didn't want to do that. So Molly and I remained the trustees, and there was we decided an incorporated society should be implemented, and so that's what we did. We implemented an incorporated society, and that incorporated society has 5 trustees. I'm the chairman of the Ngāti Rārua or Wairau Society, together with Lorraine Eade, Lee Luke, Arthur Phillips, Hine Luke is in there as well, and Kowhai Pacey. So they're the five trustees, and that incorporated society is to support the land trustees. If we look at some of the lands that we have down here, they're multiply owned lands. Now there are some families that haven't succeeded to those lands, and so they're getting distanced and further away. And the more distant they get, they don't know who's who. They don't know who their relations are. They don't know who their first cousins are. And that's really sad. So if we can look at those multiply owned lands, and not just the Wairau Incorporated Society, but the Runanga as well, because you know these lands down here, they're being utilised by commercial people, and the owners are getting nothing out of it. So how do we help them to ensure that they know where their properties are? Without whānau and without hapu, you don't have an iwi. And so for the Wairau, you know, we have 2 hapu, Te Ara Wairea and Paritona. They are the 2 hapu for the Wairau. And so the Ngāti Rārua or Wairau Society was set up to acknowledge the people of the Wairau, those 2 hapu and the whānau. And so that we can have a voice, that we can acknowledge, and that we have a vehicle for people to come to. This kaupapa isn't about today, it's about trying to leave a legacy for our next generation. So having the history, having the good, the bad and the ugly of the past, you know, the mamai that our ancestors have had to put up with, and leaving that legacy for the next generation. Unless, of course, we do that now, a lot of our next generation are not going to know about that history. What we had to do to go through the Waitangi Tribunal, all of the work that was included in looking at our lands and trying to ensure that those lands are kept intact for the next generation. As Ngāti Rārua, we made a decision that everyone would get behind the iwi. The iwi are a convenient vehicle for the Crown. But what has been eroded and diluted is the strength of the whānau and the hapu. Our whānau and our hapu have taken a back seat, and the iwi have moved on And I think now what the Runanga needs to understand is that actually the Ngāti Rārua Wairau society is their future, because that's the hapu. And if they are supportive of us, they use the word reciprocity. We need to both work together. And until we do that, we're going to be pushing water uphill.